Good morning, friends. I am not at the beach this morning because when I got up and looked at the temperature and it was 30, and that was too cold. So I'm staying in and learning new lessons about letting that be okay and trusting that. But where I am right now is a little space that I've carved out in my home, in my room, for reading and prayer and contemplation and journaling. Oh, why not? I'll show you real quick. So I have my little lamp and my coffee and my books and a little blanket, and have made a cozy space. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about making space, both in a literal sense, like this kind of space where you can find some peace and quiet and some place to read and contemplate and pray, and I have my journal here to write things down and ideas. I think it's really important to make sacred space in our homes, in our lives. Even little reminders in some of the less, normal spaces like our cars and our bathrooms and things. We can leave little notes to ourselves to remind us that our whole selves, our sacred selves, are with us everywhere, and that we can take a few moments to just catch our breath and breathe and tune into the sacred space within us, and also create the sacred spaces outside of us. But I wanted to talk a little bit about one other thing that's just been coming up a lot lately, which is just about holding space for the parts of us that scare us. For me, that often feels like anxiety or fear, and, a missing piece we're not scared to talk about our fear and anxiety at all. So we do that. But there's a practice I wanted to introduce to you that I just made up this name, but I call it journaling the dread. Because I think things that stay hidden tend to fester. Brene Brown talks a lot about shame in this way, that it's a thing we feel like we have to hide. And the more we hide it, the more it can sort of fester and grow and infect us. And the more sort of secret it becomes and weaves its way into all parts of our lives, and can often lead to behaviors that we wouldn't like about ourselves. And behaviors become habits. And the more they become ingrained in us, the harder they are to extract. So this is a piece of encouragement to, for me, I journal. And I write down every horrible, scary, terrifying, sad thing I can think of when I do it. Page after page after page. The benefit of that is the thoughts that have been swirling now come down onto paper. And then when I reread them and revisit them, I can often see how unrealistic they are. Maybe it's a trusted friend. I have some of those that I'll call up and share some of it, who can listen, and not just do the, oh, that's stupid thing, like, oh, of course that's not true. Because it's not that I don't know it's not true. It's that I need to bring it into the air. I need to make space for it. And so find your trusted friends, know who your people are. It's not everybody. You can't go dump all of your most intimate or shameful or secretive or sad or whatever those pieces are just at the feet of anyone. But my hope and my prayer is that you either have or develop a few trusted relationships where you can engage folks in trusted ways that will help you give air and light to the things that are hard. And that you will trust yourself. I think that's one of the biggest gifts of the spiritual journey. However you take it, if it's through yoga and meditation, if it's through scripture, if it's through Christianity or Buddhism or Judaism, or if it's through some other practices in your life, I don't feel particularly strongly about being indicative about how you take your spiritual journey. For me, I use almost all of those things. I study Buddhist teachers, I study Christian teachers, I study the scriptures, I study yoga. I work hard at my friendships to make sure that I'm in touch with the people that I care about. I work hard at therapy. I see a therapist regularly, and the practices that buoy my emotional health and my physical health. And it takes all that for me to be even as healthy as I am, which, as many of you have experienced if you've been watching these casts long, is not always lovely. It is sometimes anxiety-filled. It is sometimes tear-filled. It is sometimes hard. And that's just part of life, so let's be gracious with ourselves through that too. Wherever you are right now, whatever you're experiencing, whether it's good or it's bad, whether it's happy or sad, it's limited. It'll come and it'll go. Remember to take your deep, cleansing breaths. Remember to carve out your sacred space, physically and internally, externally and internally. And remember that you are valuable and loved. I think that's the most important thing that any of your religious or spiritual studies can offer you, is to know that you're valuable and that you're loved. And to learn to trust yourself, that those things are true, and that you know the next right thing to do. Even if you don't know the next 17 right things to do, you know the next one. Take that step, wait for the next. So I hope that you're somewhere warm and cozy this morning, and that you will spend a few moments creating your sacred space for yourself today. Grace and peace, friends.